Welcome, Kalle. You are the co-owner of Sufni 13, Resto 74, and Elle, Belle.
Exactly.
We like to start our episodes with asking how you got into the hospitality industry in the first place. On our way here, you mentioned yet again it wasn't the most usual way, I guess. So perhaps we can start there. Maybe you can tell us more about it.
I'll do the short story. I was studying for a physiotherapist back in Aarhus. I started in 2014, I think, and I needed a job. And one of my good old friends was chef at a restaurant in Aarhus, and the guys owning the restaurant were opening another restaurant in Skolegade, and they needed a dishwasher, and I needed money, so I started as a dishwasher there and worked part-time when I wasn't studying for school. And I did that for half a year, and then suddenly one day they needed someone to help in the kitchen as well. And I think that's a classic story for a lot of guys starting in the kitchen and starting in restaurants. And then I started working in the kitchen as well, doing the desserts, the starters, and then you get more of the responsibility. And one day you're doing the hot dishes, and then someday you're doing the pass, and then one day they need a head chef, and one day they need a manager. They were expanding quite hard at the time. So 3 years later, I was managing the place, and I still hadn't actually done my physiotherapist all done. I needed to do the bachelor as well. So the last 6 months, I wrote the bachelor exam, and I had a full-time job as manager of the restaurant, which was relocating as well.
So you had your laptop on the kitchen counter.
Yeah, I wasn't sleeping much in that period.
Flipping steaks and writing a thesis.
Exactly.
And throughout those years of finding your way into the kitchen, funny story though, I had almost the same one. I didn't stay there, of course, but yet we're sitting here today.
Yeah.
But when did you get the first thought in your head of like, this might be it for a longer while, and I want to open my own restaurant at some point?
So me and one of my partners, Asbjørn, we met he was starting in the restaurant in 2015, 16, the same restaurant I was working at. He was a waiter. And when you're young and working at a restaurant, you have a lot of time in town after service. So we were drunk quite a lot. And every time we were drunk, we were talking about the restaurant we wanted to make. And we talked about this on off for a lot of years. And Asbjørn was studying for a lawyer. He did a lawyer school at the time, which is a bit longer education than mine was. So I had the full-time job for 2 years, and Asbjørn was still studying and working at the restaurant. And when he was done, we had the talk again, and there was the head chef of one of the other restaurants, Frederik, who is also one of my partners. And we briefed him about our idea for the summer. And then the 1st of September, we had the keys for the restaurant. So, yeah.
So when you had those conversations about the dream restaurant, what did you talk about?
We talked a lot about social dining because there wasn't that many social dining restaurants in Aarhus at the point. I think that you could count them in like one hand. We wanted to do a social restaurant, and we wanted to do Nordic produce as well. We wanted to use the local produce and do a bit more green kitchen than maybe was the normal in Aarhus. Actually, back then it was a lot of protein, and we wanted to have focus on the vegetables as well and the carbs, and not just the meat and the fish. So that was the plan, and have maybe some fun cuts of meat and everything that's super normal now because of the pricing. Back then,
a lot has changed.
Tenderloin and ribeye didn't cost a thing. They do now. So now you're forced to be creative. At that point, we wanted to be creative. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a great way to start, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk us through the process of getting to open the first restaurant? Because as you mentioned, all three of you were young, either just coming out of college or still going strong.
Yeah.
How did you make it happen?
And also, how did you afford it?
Yeah.
I just want to say, how do you make it happen? As in,
so me and Frederik, actually, we worked for some years, and I've saved all my money. I saved up 150,000 kroners, and Frederik did as well. He worked in Norway for a few years, and then went back.
Great place to save up.
Great place to save some money. And then he was working seasonal in Norway, and then he was back in Denmark working some months on off. And Asbjørn had been saving some money as well. He worked a lot also during his studies. So we had also saved up the money. So we came with 3 times 150,000 kroners. And then we went to the bank. And thankfully, I had some good friends working at Nordea back then. Otherwise, they would be laughing their ass off if we came to ask for 600. I think we lent 650,000 from the bank. And then we had 1 million approximately. And we had saw the location at Frederiksgade, which was a former Michelin restaurant, Substans, who was selling the place. And we had the money, and then you buy the place, and you make a renovation for under 100,000. And we could see already when we made the budget that we needed some money. So we actually had in the beginning we had Asbjørn's former boss in his lawyer firm. He was in on the project for 10%, so we lended a bit of money from him. Yeah.
So you kind of just made ends meet for a while.
Yeah, that was we used everything.
Yeah, just for the people listening who don't understand crowns, it is about 150,000 euros that you basically had to invest to open up. And did you immediately buy the actual location of the restaurant? Did I understand that correctly?
It's pretty fun way to buy restaurants in Aarhus because you buy with the inventory.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know what you call it, afståelse. You call it in Denmark key money. It was the old term. So you get the permission to do a restaurant in the location.
So you don't own the building.
You don't own the building.
Exactly.
We are renting it as everyone would do, but you're buying the inventory and the tables and the chairs and
So is that enough money to get up and rolling and start making some profits?
Yeah, I think you could do it if you want. If you can do all of the things by yourself, because when we'll get back to that later. When we relocated, the money we spent on doing all of Frederiksgade was the money we spent just on a wine section in the new restaurant.
Wow. A wine section.
Yeah, so it's what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
We did. So everything we did in Frederiksgade we did ourselves, or we had friends or family helping. So we didn't have. I think we had 2 hours of electrician who helped with some of the speakers. I think that was it. The rest of it we did ourselves and through friends and family. So.
And once you opened the place, how were you received by the public?
Good, I think. We opened in October. Actually, just 1 year ago from where we're sitting today. 6 years ago from where we're sitting today. And we were busy from the start, and the weekends were super busy. Full house every weekend. We decided from the start that we wanted to have open Monday to Saturday every night.
So 6 days a week.
6 days a week. And the Mondays and the Tuesdays and the Wednesdays, they were a bit quiet. But we were only us. And we were there. Frederick and me was running the kitchen. And then as we started, we got a chef apprentice as well. And then Asbjørn and 2 other waiters were doing the floor. And we did the dishes ourselves. We didn't have a dishwasher in the beginning.
Yeah, but in those days, if you said if it's not going to be that busy anyways on those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's great to be open because you don't have much staffing cost if you're just standing there yourself.
We didn't have any staff costs.
And then you might as well wash those plates.
I think we got in 20 or 22,000 in salary for the first year and a half, 2 years. And we were there 200, 250, 300 hours a month. It was our life, yeah.
Did you feel an impact from the fact that you took over the location from a Michelin star restaurant?
There was a lot of focus from the media. I think we underestimated the positive effects of it because...
it's a lot better than taking over an Argentinian steakhouse, for instance.
For example. And we got the first review from Aarhus Stiftstidende, which is one of the bigger newspapers in Aarhus. And I remember the headline was... new restaurant in a legendary location doesn't disappoint. So there's always been restaurants in the location. Before Substans, there was Le Canard, which was Restaurant of the Year in '96, I think. It's Palle Enevoldsen who has Varna now, a legendary wedding location as well in Aarhus. So there's always been restaurants in the building. So I think that's a good thing because people have a connection to the location. And a lot of people came who've been to Substans. We use a lot of the same produce, and we have a lot of the same philosophy about making food. Of course, we were a bit cheaper, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it still feels like substance. It was the same. We took over the tables and the chairs, and we couldn't replace them because we didn't have any money. So that was the chairs and the tables we had.
Just got a bit cheaper.
Yeah. We painted the walls and everything and made a bar. There was no bar there. So we made it a bit more modern, not a bit more casual as well. The thoughts with Suni 13. Hvad skal jeg kalde det? Suni 13.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
you just say that. That's
Okay.
fine. I just didn't say it because I would absolutely butcher it. I can say it.
We wanted to make it a cocktail place as well. That was the thoughts initially. And then COVID hit in March, 5 months later. Yeah.
So when did you open? You said 6 years ago?
Yeah, 6 years ago. So 25th of October.
So like 5 months before COVID hit?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was tough. But I think we talked about it a few times. It was good. It would happen at that point, because if it happened today, we wouldn't manage as well as we did back then, because there was no way we could give up. We just we just made takeaway instead, and we just did all the things ourselves.
And you didn't have much staff yet?
We didn't have. We had some part-time employees, and we have the chef apprentice, and we sent all of the part-time employees we sent home with salary, of course. And then the apprentice and the three of us, we rerun the kitchen. And then, of course, my girlfriend and someone came to help. And my best friends were riding bikes around the city to deliver. We made our own delivery service. And so
I guess it's also very good you had 5 months where you just saw the concept is working before you had to shut it down, right?
Yeah, because it was super busy in November, December, key months in the restaurant business. And we had a good business already there, and actually we were just mentioned in one of the web magazines in January as the best new restaurant in city, and then we found out now we're rolling, and then COVID hit.
And then I was like, no, don't think so. But indeed, you already have a bit of a name, so also if you start doing the takeaway, that will help a lot.
People were super supportive the first lockdown because we were new and people were feeling bad for us. So the takeaway were really exploding.
Oh, that's nice.
And we were super, super busy, and we couldn't follow through. We needed friends and family to come.
You actually made decent money.
We had a Saturday where we actually we made a Saturday which were better than some of the Fridays we had before closing down. Yeah, but that was too busy. We were. Yeah.
But still, at least a nice way to come by. And at the same time, I do also think you build up a lot of resilience in a period like that.
There was a lot of respect about us still having open. Some of the more older restaurants, they were closing because they didn't need to do this. And there was a respect for us we did it and changed the whole of the concept.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not the food we initially wanted to do. We did fries and we did fried chicken and we did do anything. Yeah,
but it's a good way to learn, right? Especially because you're so eager in the beginning.
Yeah.
And now, speaking of challenges that you've been through, this is one of the big ones. But from the operational aspect of just when you actually got to run the restaurant, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced there, starting out for the first time?
I think the one thing I was most nervous about was will people show up? Will there be any guests? And how do we manage to have any guests? We were good at having the guests when they were there, but I've never tried to. How do you do the marketing for a restaurant? I've never done it. It was not my job in the other restaurants we worked at. We were doing food and we were serving the guests.
And it was the same for all of you, right?
All of us. Yeah. None of us had we never made a salary. I have done the shifts for I had some administration things I did. I did have the conversations and I did do the schedules and everything. Frederick and Asbjørn didn't have that one. I knew some of the numbers. I had some KPIs in I wanted to achieve in the old place. I needed to go for, and how much can we use on salary and how much can we use for the produce and everything. So I had a basic knowledge from those things. But
what did you do to make the marketing work with no experience?
I don't know. We just did it organic. We just started an Instagram, started a Facebook, and then we just started posting. And I think Aarhus is really nice in that point because mouth to mouth in Aarhus is still the best one. So we let the product speak for itself. I think.
And I guess
that a lot. Yeah.
Perhaps that's a nice thing about Aarhus in general. It's like if something new is opening, often most of the city will come and try it at least.
It's like a small city effect, right? And again, word of mouth. And I guess the best bit of marketing you perhaps did is the location that you took.
Yeah.
which is also just a nice thing, especially when you're a bit unaware at that time. That can just
the
help.
location was,
and then in combination with the small city.
Yeah, it's a good or bad thing with the small city thing, because if you don't deliver, then you're really fucked. Because it's a really small city, so everyone talks and everyone knows each other, and all the restaurant knows each other, and so
But I noticed that you are very highly rated on TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
So I guess tourists also does play a role.
They do. They did a lot actually in Frederiksgade, because we were like in the heart of a lot of hotels. Radisson had 2 hotels, and Scandic and we started actually really quickly to do some cooperatives with some of the hotels. We did with some of the smaller hotels. They could get some percentages off sending their guests to us, and we will treat them like kings when they come to. And that was really good, because a lot of them left a nice TripAdvisor review and a Google review and all those things. And I think that's the most one of the things I learned actually at Dining 6 is we need to take every review very seriously. And I hated it as a manager back then, because I couldn't understand that we had 200 guests and one table were fuming, and then the other 198 guests, we weren't hearing anything about them. It was the 2 people that had a bad evening we need to focus on. And I think that we took that with us, because it's really, really important to take it's nice to get the recognition and get the good things, but you don't learn anything from that. And I think looking back then, the things we needed to do back then, I understand them now, because I take it personally. Every time we get a bad review, I take it really personally. It's my person that didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And when you started out, and perhaps still today, also while doing multiple concepts, I think we can go a bit more into detail there later. What was the perception that you wanted to get from like the guests coming to you? Like, how do you want them to see you? Did you have a good idea about that?
Us as a restaurant, or us
as a restaurant?
As a restaurant, yeah. We wanted to create like the social space. In the start, we actually had an a la carte card as well, and we wanted people to choose and pick and choose on what they want. Like, so it would be like a Nordic tapas actually. So we wanted that kind of vibe, like a bodega vibe. But we faced pretty early that 80-90% of the customer just went for the menu, because we're in Jutland. So they like getting the percentages off. So we actually became more of a restaurant than we became a bar. We thought we wanted to do a cocktail bar as well, and also due to the COVID that we had to close in like 11 p.m. instead of we couldn't have open till like 2 p.m. So
of course, you had those curfew things.
Yeah. So the curfew did that we had to close, and we became a restaurant. Yeah.
Do you think it was a good thing that it happened?
Yeah, it was a really good thing. So that also led us to the next restaurant we made, because we wanted to do the cocktail bar and the cocktails and the bar feeling and eating at a bar.
Is that what became
that was what Elle Belle became, and that was why we opened Elle Belle as well, because we wanted to do the all loose.
At what point did you feel like you had the energy to open another location?
When you're 26 and 27, you have all the energy in the world, and you don't have any kids. You have all the energy in the world.
Just do it.
Let's rephrase it. When did you feel like you had the capacity to do it?
Elle Belle opened in December 2021, so we have just went out of COVID almost, and we had a good year. After COVID, there was a post-COVID flood of not opening any restaurants. They weren't opening any new restaurants because people were afraid, but people was hungering to go out. So we had a truly amazing 2021 actually, when we first opened again. And then we were like, okay, we can do this now. We had a good team. We had the apprentice, Jamie, I talked about in the beginning, we hired. He was finished with his studies and wanted to work as a chef with us still. And then we could like offer him the head chef for Elle Belle. So he was like one of the key figures at opening down there.
Did you know when you first started Sunitran, did you already back then know that you wanted? No,
it was quite a coincidence with Elle Belle, because we just someday we saw the location. It's like 300 meters from where we are at Sunitran. And there was the key money here was really, really low. And we thought, okay, that's a good pricing for, it's a good location. It's at Boulevarden. but more not on the tourist side of Boulevarden. And we thought like it was a great. There was like 45 seats, great size of the kitchen as well, and there were some possibilities to open the bar, and the rent was actually really nice as well. So it was kind of okay. Why don't we do this? We have the time, we have the money this time. We don't need to go to the bank, and we could pay it off right now. And then we have the concept. We talked about the concept before we had the location, and then the location fitted on the concept as well.
That was basically a bit of the dream.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
It was pure luck, and it was the same. We saw the location in mid-October, and 1st of November we had the keys, and then we opened 18th of December. So, yeah.
Nice. Can you talk us through the process of dividing focus? Like it helps that they're maybe 300 meter from each other, so you can go a little bit more back and forth. But can you tell us about, like, I'd love to go into detail about how you divided the responsibility between both locations.
I was the head of Elle in the beginning, totally, and then Asbjørn and Frederick were still at SUNY 13, and me and Jamie were in charge, and we had a restaurant manager as well, and we were like starting Elle, and I was there full time actually, and then Asbjørn and Frederick was doing SUNY 13. So that was the easy way to do it. We still have all the connection, and I was still working at SUNY 13. At sometimes I was actually more of a waiter there than I was in the evening in Elle, but starting up, there's a lot of things, and still doing the concept and finding out what to do and what does the guest wants, because one thing is what you think you're opening, and another thing is when the guest arrives, and then you see what are their demands, due to, is it more cocktail, is it more wine, is it more beer, and so I was at Elle for the first 2 years almost full time.
And is there anything you did drastically different from the first opening?
The volume of the music were a bit louder, so we just made a party down there, and we just wanted to make it a fun place to come. And if someone spilled on the floor, it was okay. And if the music was a bit too loud, we didn't turn down the volume. And we wanted to be a place of fun, and it was not a place for everyone. Where SUNY 13 is more of a pleaser. Elle was for the younger people and the people for wanting to have fun, and the glasses weren't supposed to be polished and everything. So it was a bit more casual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Did you end up sending a lot of people after dinner from SUNY 13?
Yeah, over that was also the point of sending them for the cocktail. And we do a happy hour and all of those things you do at a bar. So when people have the wine menu and they wanted to go further down in the city, they could just take Elle as a stop before the nightclubs. Yeah,
exactly. And going about like hiring people and stuff, I think that started to become a bigger thing once you get the second location, because we have to think, of course, staff turnover, especially after COVID.
Yeah,
you're also looking for different profiles between both locations. How did that change basically after the second location? Because in general, not just you have to schedule for 2 locations, manage employees, costs, the KPIs you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we got Workfeed. No.
Ed.
in SUNY 13 we did the Excel in the first 2 years, and then of course when we opened Elle as well, there we started to get more employees, and we needed a system, and we needed to schedule it, and we needed to have it on the phone, and every one of our employees needed it on the phone, and not in some shady sheets on the internet. So it helped us a lot, and also with the salary. I think actually that's the most important thing, that to do the integration with the salary. It saves us a lot of time not doing the manual things, and if someone forgot to puncture the times and everything, and when you are plus 20 people, you need to have a system for these things. It's easy when you're 10, 15, and you're there yourself all the time. But I was not at SUNY 13, and I was not at Elle, and I started to have some nights off as well. So I needed to have a system and security that these things are up to date all the time. Yeah.
Funnily enough, I was not even referring to this, but I appreciate it.
But it actually happened. I think it was around the time that we started to be more digital. Yeah,
I think
it makes a lot of sense.
Quite early when you came to us. Like we were pretty young back then as well.
But how long is that ago? Like 4 years ago?
Yeah, that's 4 years ago. Yeah. But I worked with some scheduling before, of course, because of the work I had before. And I worked with some some of your colleagues.
You can call them out. It's fine.
So I could see like when you're reaching this size, we need to have a system for these things. It will help us a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing I was also curious about is just in general, once you start growing to that amount of people, like you're just going to have a lot of people to work with. There's way more hassle, like not just hiring, but managing, making sure they stay with you, they're happy, maybe can grow further. And that was maybe not a first for you because you had a bit in your old job of doing that, but then again, then it's not your own money.
Yeah, well, it's a different game when it's your own money.
Exactly.
It's a whole another level.
How is it different?
You take care a lot more, and you when your employees have demands, you take it more personal, and when they quit the job, you take it personal.
Yeah, you care more about the employees as well, right?
I care about them, but I also care about our business and our face outside. Are they quitting the job because we did something wrong? So we always ask when someone stopped, is it because of us? Is it because of the business? Is it because of the hours? Is it because of the salary? I'll never try to get someone back who quit because it will never be super nice. But then sometimes they come back a year after, and I think that's fine. We hired some of the guys who stopped, some of our apprentices who've like, okay, I can't do this anymore, and then they try to work at another restaurant, and then they come back, and then I found out, okay, we're doing something right.
That's a good sign.
That's a really good sign. I think that's one of the best signs, and it's totally okay for me that some of our apprentice chefs who's been with us for 4 years want to try something else or want to go travel the world or work at another place. But if they come back a year, a year after, and said they want to work with us again, I think we're doing something right. Yeah.
Is that something you put a lot of thoughts into before opening a restaurant in the first place? Just the restaurant industry as a workplace, because it has quite a bad reputation.
Yeah.
So did you have any thoughts on how you wanted your workplace to be?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's a business, and then it's a restaurant for me, because if it's not a business, there's no restaurant, and the business starts with the people, in my opinion. So we need to have the talents, and not everyone. We don't need 100% talents in our team. We do know that we do have some part-time employees. They're there 100% for the money, and that's totally fine with me. They come in, do their job, and then they go home. That's totally fine. I can live with that. But we do need to have some of the key members of the team, which I can trust, and we need to have some talents with them and someone I can work with, and I can see a development in them. Not everyone. I don't have to do that with every 60 people, but I think if I find 5, 8, 10 people, then I see some potential and I will do anything for them. And they know that. But I do expect a lot of them in return. Yeah.
But it's fair exchange, right? Sorry.
Yeah, and more like in the conditions your employees have when they're working. How do you do that differently from like in, I guess the old school way in the restaurant industry is like a lot of yelling, a lot of demanding, and
stress.
Do you address that in a different way?
Yeah, I think also that's one of the things we learned from Dining 6 when we were there, and they had like a mantra, which in Danish it's called "fucking flink," and they had to be. It translates to be fucking nice.
Tough.
Yeah, fucking nice.
Oh, really?
You have to be fucking nice.
in Dutch, it translates to fucking tough.
Yeah, so it's fucking nice. So they had to be. You have to be. Do something nice to your colleagues. If you said one bad thing, you need to say 10 nice things.
Okay.
That was the way they wanted to work. So they didn't want any yelling chef. They want to be modern. They want to be because there's a different expectations from. Of course, if you're a trained chef, go to school for 4 years and work your ass off, and there's a part-time waiter who had their first job in the restaurant industry, it's gonna clash. Of course, it's going to clash because the expectations don't meet. But we need to learn to the chefs. You have to be patient. You have to do these things because otherwise we need to be a team. I think the old school way is it's the waiters against the chefs. And I hated this because I've been on both sides. I've been in the kitchen. I was a head chef. And then I've been the waiter as well. The best nights is when there's a team. And I think that it doesn't matter if any business. Your customer success and the sales team needs to work together. They don't need to attack each other with anything, and your support as well. So it's the same in a restaurant. The dishwasher needs to work tightly with the kitchen, and the kitchen needs to have a tight communication with the waiters and all the way around. And I think the old way of doing it is the kitchen was a unit, and the waiters was a unit, and the dishwashers is a unit. And we need to make a team because otherwise it won't work, and it won't be a nice success for anyone, because then the kitchen won't care if the waiter drops a plate or the dishwasher can't deliver clean plates or whatever. So yeah, I think I wanted to think of it as a business before I wanted to think about it as a restaurant.
How did you get this implemented? Because I assume that it's a lot of like internal agreements on how do we communicate
and team events.
Yeah. So I guess you have like a strict communication policy for what do we say when someone asks.
It's pretty easy. We do have a handbook, and when we get in the new place, it was, of course, it's much easier in the beginning when we're there 24/7 because we want the things to do in our way. But when we're not there, we don't know what's happening. So the key employees I was talking about before, they know our values 100%, and they know what's right and what's wrong. So they are our eyes and ears all the time. And then we do also, of course, do have the handbook, and that's the Bible for the employees as well. And I can recommend everyone having a restaurant do a handbook.
What is in the handbook?
How do we talk to each other? What do we don't say? When do you meet? What is okay for you to take to drink? How many beers can you do after service? All of those things. We do not make every rule. We don't say. People have to think themselves. But sometimes it's nice, and also when you get the manager roles as well, what are the rules? Because they're the bad guys. And I was a manager myself, and sometimes you're pinched between two fingers. There's the employees, and then there's the owners. I actually think that's the worst position to be in, because the owners are punishing you if you're not performing, and the employees are punishing you if you're not on their side and not taking their side in some of the cases. So for the managers as well, I think it's really nice to have a guideline for everything. The more the better. And
maybe just clarity.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes in the handbooks there are things that never been mentioned, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So everyone knows the rules. It's like having a rule book for football, I think.
Yeah. You just mentioned like a few times already, you look at it at restaurants first from a business perspective, or at it as a business instead of as a restaurant. Yeah. How do you apply this when it comes to the back end side of things, like looking at the numbers? Which type of numbers do you look at? I think especially now when you're looking at 2/3 locations, it becomes more and more important to have a good overview of that.
Of course.
Can you tell us more about your approach?
I think there's the two main things are, of course, the salary and the product cost, because there are the mainly biggest things. Then there's also the rent and like all of the software and everything. You put that in another box. And then you have the top and the bottom. So it's nice to have a nice top, because there's no fast udgifter. Fixed prices, it will be the same. It doesn't matter what the top is like. And of course, the salary and the variable expenses will follow if you have a nice top. So it's always good to look at the top, maybe from the year before, how are we performing on top. But the really interesting part is, of course, the bottom. What's left at the end of the
month? Much do we earn?
Yeah, what's left. And the easiest thing to look at is, of course, the salary and the product efficiency.
Yeah, fair enough. And how often do you look at these numbers? Just curiosity.
Too much.
Define too much.
Once or twice a week, I think.
Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, but monthly we do with the managers. We do like a quarter. Because it has to be fair to them. I won't slap the head chefs on the chef if there's 1 month where they hit like 34% instead of 34. 30. Hvad skal jeg sige? 35.
35.
35%. 35%.
So that's the margin they can have when
no, that's
buying
too much.
Stuff.
I wanted to for them to hit 30. But if there's 1 month they're hitting 32, it's no problem. But if we look at a quarter of a year, they should be at 30 or under that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now you're also involved in a third restaurant. Yeah. Very different as of to the first two. Perhaps a little bit nostalgic as well, due to the location. Yeah. Like in this restaurant, you're involved or you guys are involved as investors instead, right?
100%.
Where did that come from, or how did that happen?
Yeah, the guys running the restaurant at Frederiksgade now is some of our former employees. So
and it's also your former location, right? Where
the former location where Sunis Ratten was. Yeah. Mads, Gorm, and Ida. Mads was the head chef at Elle. Gorm was apprentice at SUNY 13, and Ida was the restaurant manager at Elle. So we asked them when we knew we had to relocate SUNY 13. We asked actually Mads and Ida first if they were interested in like taking over the restaurant, and we will be on the side and helping them. And there was a clear no. And Ida actually had quit the job at this point. And
she quit.
Yeah, she quit before we announced for them that we were moving. So it was a clear no. And then we were like, okay,
shit.
Then we need to sell the place because we couldn't do another place. We were relocating and we were So and then there was like going a month and a half, and I was on vacation with my girlfriend, and then Mads called me and said, "We need to talk again." And I knew what it was about. So
just planted the seed. And
I just planted the seed, and then
did they come all three at once then also?
Yeah, but then Mads and Ida had talked to the third person, and we knew him, and we vouched for him as well. And then it was some negotiation, of course, with the numbers and how much should they pay for the key money, and how much should we be invested, and making the owner contract and everything. So it was a nice process, and it's really nice to be in a restaurant where I don't need to worry about all the HR things, the employees, all of those things. I can help them with the things I think that are funny and the things they need help for. I'm not there every day. I'm coming around sometimes, and I love to eat there as well.
I was just about to say, I think it's a lovely place to actually go and dine.
Yeah, because it's not my waiters.
Yeah,
I don't see all the flaws and all the mistakes they do and everything. I do that at my own restaurants.
Yeah, exactly.
I almost never eat at my own restaurant. I've eaten SUNY 13 4 times the last 5 years, and it always been some business related in network groups and some point. Yeah, because I actually don't like eating at my own restaurant.
I get stressed.
I can't enjoy it. It's too stressful. Yeah. And my girlfriend doesn't enjoy eating with me there because I'm always checking, that table I'm missing don't have fresh water or whatever. Yeah.
Do you see that spot on the floor?
So I think my employees hate it as well while I'm there. So it's better than
they probably do. But indeed, in this case, where you don't
in this case, I love being there, and they're super, super, super cool, and they're so nice, and it was a great choice for them. I think they're really thriving in it, and we can see ourselves in them. They're the same age we were when we started the restaurant, and they're working their butts off, and it's really nice to see it from the side.
Also a nice way to keep the same people involved.
Yeah,
like not within the company, but technically.
There are friends as well, personal good friends. So we love partying with them and having fun with them. So we couldn't offer them any more in our own business, but they already reached the top.
Yeah, exactly.
So we couldn't give them any more.
Yeah, so now you can still work together.
Yeah.
Now you also mentioned that you moved location to SUNY 13. We didn't really talk about that, but I would like to know what was the thought process behind moving, and what did it teach you to redo the whole thing?
We were at Frederiksgade for 5 years, almost 5 years when this opportunity came. There was a new building in town called Træ, which means tree. It's the tallest tree building in Denmark. Really high focus on sustainability and upcycled materials and everything. And we've been flirting a bit with the builders of the building before. They are also doing a lot down at Aarhus Ø, and we talked to one of the workers there, and we needed something to happen. Asbjørn is doing his law thing, finished, and then actually just me and Frederik left in the restaurant, and I was super demotivated at the point. Everything was going fine. There was a lot of guests. We made crazy good numbers.
So why were you demotivated?
Because
boring.
Yeah, it was boring.
Why do you ask this question?
Yeah,
you know the answer.
And I think for normal people, it's really crazy to hear these things, because I could work 20 hours a week if I wanted to. I could work 10 hours a week if I wanted to, and still have a good business. But that's not what motivates me, and it's not the money that motivates me at any point. So we needed something to happen. We need to break, and then we needed to go full throttle. And I think me and Frederik he was in the same position as me, and he was demotivated as well. And we were like, okay, let's go full throttle, do or die. And we really relocated to a double-sized restaurant on the 19th floor. Crazy expensive. We used, again, all of the money we earned for 5 years. We used them in a month. And then we opened in April this year in the 19th floor, yeah.
But it must be so cool to completely start from scratch compared to the first time where you buy everything. Now you really
we could hire people to do it, so the things look nice from the beginning.
Yeah, but even the building is new, right? As well. So I guess you also had some say in how the walls should be put.
And we could design the kitchen 100% as we wanted. We could design the bars, and it was like playing Sims with the restaurant. So we could put the bar we want.
But then with real money.
Yeah. And it was our money.
That's a dangerous way to think, though.
But it was a fun process, and I loved that process of I want the coffee machine here, I want the draft beer here, I want the trash can here, and I want the wine cooler here. So it's a fun process, but it's super, super tough. And this one was also the toughest one because I became a dad 2 years ago, and it was easier for my girlfriend back then when there was I could stay.
Did you move before you became a dad or afterwards?
My son was a year. No, he was 1.5 years when we moved. So I was the dad in 2 years ago. Yeah. So.
And I'm curious about the thing you had with motivation earlier, because I think it's actually quite common that when someone builds a business and that business suddenly is very stable and well performing, that you
miss the old days.
Yeah, you start feeling a struggle because it's kind of repetitive. And did you feel like this opening a new location helps solve that?
It helps solving it it's like peeing your pants. Oh, I'm already thinking about the next one now because it's been a half year now. So, but
so now it's boring again.
Yeah, the last 6 months it's been super fun. It's super fun to wait again. It's been super fun to be in the kitchen again. It's been super fun to have the guest interaction.
That's also a very nice lesson. To teach yourself to figure out you need to constantly be challenged.
Yeah, I need that thing for my work life. I need this all the time. I need to be out my comfort zone and do things I don't know how to do, because this project was so much bigger, because we needed to control the contractors and control the painters and control the electricians, everything. And I had no experience doing this. I was just a
you need to solve some problems, right?
We need to solve some problems in a bigger scale this time. And I don't know the building business at any point. And I learned that you need to be at people all the time, because otherwise you can't make a deal mouth to mouth. You need everything you need to have in
signed.
an email or signed or anything, because then otherwise they'll fuck you up. Yeah.
And earlier you mentioned in the beginning you guys were scared about the fact that when you opened, how are we gonna go get guests? What do we do with marketing? Now you mentioned that the new location doubled in size.
Yeah.
How has that been going, and what do you do to make sure you have a full house?
Yeah, but it's been crazy. We've never been more busy after we opened at the new location, because we had a lot of regulars that wanted to see the new location, which
Makes
is fair.
sense.
But it's still ongoing. The case with the restaurant as well, we needed some separate rooms for the bigger parties. In Aarhus, I think it's the same thing in Copenhagen. There's not like houses you can rent and then do a party or anything. We needed to have a separate room, and now we do have that for 45 people. We can fit in one room and do the restaurant on the other side, which have no effect
that's cool.
for the other part of the restaurant. And that's a game changer for us, because the businesses are eating normally out Monday to Thursday, and they're doing their big things Monday to Thursday, and that's the dead days in the restaurant as well.
So you can kind of facilitate them on the slower days and make up for a lot of the money.
We can do events, and we can do all the things we couldn't do at Frederiksgade because we didn't have the room, and the acoustics were bad and everything. So
they were bad.
So we couldn't do anything. We couldn't do larger companies or anything in Frederiksgade, and all of these things we can do now because it's new and the acoustics are good and the kitchen are made for it, and all of these things. Yeah. So it's a game changer with these rooms as well.
Are you gonna be doing like Christmas parties?
Everything. It's already booked.
We should.
So,
I was about to say you should consider it next year then.
Wait. No, it's fine. Because we do our julefrokost in January.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's fair.
I'm pretty
sure we always do it in
not
January.
booked then.
That's a pro tip if you're a business owner. Do the Christmas lunch in January. You get better prices.
Yeah,
than,
let's talk about that afterwards, because I think we'll go to Aarhus anyways.
Yeah.
And That would be nice because I've never been at your places anyways, and it would be nice to visit. Do you do service yourself at all?
Yeah, sometimes I still do. I was doing service yesterday actually, but mostly the lunch service. We do have lunch as well at Sunitran. But sometimes, illness, someone is sick, who comes in on a Saturday evening.
That's maybe the most stressful part, right?
Yeah, I think that's the part I hate most about the job. It's 24/7, all the time.
You never know.
Even when you're on vacation. And we had, we do have a pop-up restaurant as well on Sam's Island in the summer. And I was there, and the building is so smart. So if there is a leak in one of the water pipes, all of the water in the building shuts down. But there was like a fake alarm, so we had no water on a Friday night.
Nice.
You were on holiday?
I wasn't in Aarhus. There was nothing we could do. We couldn't call anyone because it was Friday night. Who do you call? Everyone was going home. We were the only one in the building. After 4 p.m., we are the only one in the building.
You need to start prepping. Just
get some gallons of water in.
So try to make a dishwasher work without water. We had like 110
the dishwasher was standing like,
we could serve beer and the wine, no problem. But there were people couldn't wash their hands on the toilets, so people were leaving.
Of course,
It was at the end of the evening, but we couldn't wash any dishes before the day after. So I had to go like. One of the times it happened, I was in Aarhus. I had to go to the building 6 a.m. in the morning, just try to call everyone. No one was answering. I got the number from one of the guys who helped us building. He was nothing with the building now. He actually had a key there was a button we need to press, and we didn't have the key. So he actually went for there and did that for us. So
was that all it took?
Yeah, it was just a press on a button. But we didn't have the key for the room.
But now you have a key.
Now we have the key.
Yeah.
But it happened twice before we got the key.
Hard way.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's super stressful. You're never off. And sometimes the alarm goes off. I was 2 weeks ago, I was deadly sick. I had the man flu. Really sick.
really sick.
So my girlfriend wasn't home with our son, and I was sleeping alone. And then at 3:30, the alarm goes off in the restaurant. I have it on my cell phone. Really loud noise. And I was like, 40 fever and everything. And it was one of the chefs who forgot his keys in the restaurant, and he'd been out partying, and then he went to the restaurant and retrieving his keys, and he forgot to take the alarm off, and I couldn't sleep for 3 hours because, we just...
but you just wake up in shock because you never know.
So it's all the time. It's 24/7. Even when you're sick, even when you're on holiday, you're never off.
How did you learn to cope with that stress feeling? Because I guess one thing is when you were young and you're all in, but now you are dad and you have other responsibilities. How do you cope with it?
First of all, you need to have a very understanding girlfriend. I think that's or boyfriend for that part. I think that's my girlfriend is also from the business as well. So I think that's a good thing for a start. I don't feel she never guilt tripped me, and that's a very nice thing because I couldn't do the things I do if she was guilt tripping me all the time.
You don't have to explain yourself.
I don't have to explain everything. I don't have to explain to her that I need to go to Copenhagen to make a podcast with you guys. And she's just like,
just take her with you.
I'll come. We'll make a weekend out of it. So that's the first thing, because it eased my mind that I don't need to have a bad conscience about leaving and not being home. So that's the first thing. But I don't know. I don't know it's if genetically my mom always asked me, how do you do this? She would have cracked in like a month if she did the work I did. And she actually was helping at our restaurant at Sam's Island this summer. She was doing the breakfast for the hotel guests. And it was so fun for her to see me in the role because she found it super stressful to do breakfast for 5 guests. And she sees that we do 110 and 200 guests in the evening. She's like, I don't know how you do this. And I don't know either. We just do it. So I don't know if it's genetically, if it's just learning by doing. Or
I think it's also difficult to comprehend it if you've never been in the industry, because indeed then you're like,
people not in the industry doesn't understand, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Exactly. Like
I don't know anything else. I've never had another job. This is the only thing I've ever done.
But
So
it makes
I don't
sense.
know difference. Yeah.
It makes sense looking back as well, like especially lunch. I remember back in the day, like lunch when you do that and it's busy, it's usually more hectic than evening service
because the kitchen aren't ready and
nothing
is prepped.
You're prepping, and but usually also just with less people.
Yeah,
right. You're understaffed, and then
there's a lot more walk-ins, and
people also have less patience.
Yeah,
because they're not sitting there with a glass
they have
of
to
wine.
go back to work. Sometimes
and
they have
that's
an hour.
Exactly, and that's where you learn it. And then out of nowhere, you need all the sandwiches, but then you have to bake off the bread in the meantime, and you're always just ending up in a big bucket.
Yeah,
and I think that's where you learn it. If you never did it, you will also not get it. And I think the same thing applies from standing behind a bar, because people have even less patience there, I would say.
Even less patience in a bar.
But there is something truly fascinating about the flow of being in it and doing it well. Managing 100 guests and
it's kind of a sport. I think
it's like a team sport.
Yeah, I get the same feeling from I've done team sports my whole life, and I get the same feeling when everything is clicking at the team sport, and when everything's clicking at the restaurant. It's the same feeling.
I think the best example is probably rowing. If you think about it from a very simple, right? Because if one person is not rowing in the same rhythm, it's not great.
Going around.
I've never been in a rowing boat like that, but if I watch it, it makes sense.
Otherwise, also like just the football, your winger, you have a fullback, you know he's coming in the overlap, right? You just know. I just had to, right?
But sometimes the best services.
But there's of course like there's some different. There's also another team playing against you, which you could classify as the waiters. Fair enough.
The guests, all the guests. No. But. The best feeling I think in the restaurant is when you have the services, when you don't actually need to talk with your colleagues, because everyone knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
And that's the best services, because everyone knows what the function is, and no one needs to ask, how do I do this? How do I do this? Because everyone knows what they're doing.
The only thing you have to say is like timeline, or like new order coming in. Okay, you need something from each other, and you go.
And then you have the time for the guests.
Now we are slowly running out of time. So I'd like to also ask you, because you mentioned that you want to keep challenging yourself.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind now for the future?
We're keeping the possibilities open. I think the one thing we learned from our experience in these 6 years is that we need to have an open mind. When the opportunity comes, it's nice to have the time. So right now there's not like anything in the pipeline, but suddenly something will come up, and then we'll be ready. And then my mind is always thinking about, okay, what's the next concept? Do we need to expand one thing, or do we need to do a new concept, and what are trending and everything? So
would you like to stay in like the restaurants, or did you have any thoughts about like maybe
I think the investor part is super fun, and we have just been a little bit in touch with it with the restaurant at Frederiksgade. I think it's super fun to do the board work as well, to be like the good advice and not be doing the dirty work, because if it's another business, someone would be totally much better than me. But I think I do have some skills in like doing a business model and doing the budget and doing the managing as well. I have some skills now. I think that it's fun, and I think it's adaptable to other businesses as well. So again, the possibilities are open. So
basically, if there are any young chefs out there who
my
are
number will be here or there somewhere.
Shout to you.
We're not gonna do that, but you
give a little elevator pitch.
I think it's super fun.
I
think it's fun, especially working with the young peoples with fire and passion. Because then you can form them. The passion you can never teach a person with passion, but you can teach a passionate person about numbers and all the boring stuff as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we'll make sure to tag you so people can actually find you. Maybe we should talk to Kalle about that coffee place we've been thinking about, like the Workfeed coffee place.
Which one?
I have a location for you in Aarhus.
Remember we spoke about something. It would be fun to actually open a hospitality location of some sort, and a coffee place maybe a bit easier. Maybe a speakeasy cocktail bar behind it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll talk
about
that.
We had a place in New York actually where you just had like this little window where you could get to-go coffee, and then behind you had a speakeasy bar.
Yeah. If you're going to New York, Bathtub Gin, I think it was called.
A lot of places.
A super cool place. Kalle, thank you so much for today.
Cheers in Brøl. Also your local.
Yeah, the local our supplier from the restaurants. So shout
Point
out
it at
to
the camera.
Shout out to Anders. Skål.
Skål.
Brøl.